welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Larry.
I'm Cyndi. Tara.
And I'm Josh. And we are going to be going over a work that Cyndi's been waiting to do for quite some time. She nominated it for a roundtable read, and we finally got it in for a general discussion. And that is Another Kingdom by Andrew Klavan. Cyndi, you have a discussion starter?
I do. Another Kingdom by Andrew Klavan is book one of a trilogy that includes Another Kingdom, Nightmare Feast, and The Emperor's Sword. The series is also available as a podcast and is on the Daily Wire YouTube channel, where it is narrated by Michael Knowles and has graphics, which I'm sorry to say didn't make the book. I really thought when they were making the book it was going to become a graphic novel, but that didn't happen. But that's really a cool podcast for anyone interested in that. Andrew Klavan is the author of True Crime, Empire of Lies, and other crime thrillers. It's the story of Austin Lively, who is a ne'er-do-well screenwriter that finds himself in an epic adventure when he accidentally walks through a portal. As I was reading the book, I saw overtones, all kinds of religious and spiritual and political overtones. And many times I felt like Drew Klavan was telling us things that he maybe wasn't trying to do, or maybe he was. I wasn't sure. But when Michael Knowles asked him one time how he got his inspiration for this book, and he said, well, it just sort of came to me, it just flowed out. He is someone who grew up as an agnostic Jew. He became a Christian, and he said as he got older, he said, I just wanted to start writing things that were a little different and that really fit where my life is now. And Another Kingdom just sort of was there and flowed right out. So you find an agnostic Jew who finds Christianity, someone who's been a screenwriter and a novelist, and wants to take a different journey, and he's a crime drama writer, and this is what tumbles out. You find yourself in Another Kingdom. As you were reading the story, were there any overtones you discovered?
I think that this book, this is one of the most, I had the most complexity reading this book than anything I've read. And I think a lot had to do with the fact that if it's read allegorically and for the messages that come with it, it's brilliant. As far as a story is concerned, with likable characters and something, I mean, as far as a new and original backdrop, I thought that that's where it lagged. However, I think that the question is whether or not I would want to keep. I'm still thinking about it, and I would like to keep reading into it. But I think that I think that there are things here you have to read it as allegorical because, for instance, if there are moments where Austin Lively, the central character, there's supporting characters that will help him and then just go away. It'd be like I was at a supermarket, or I was working at a supermarket, and Cyndi needed help looking for chicken broth. And I decided, I just gave her a hint as to where it was rather than actually helping her find the chicken broth.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, check over there, goodbye. Or if Cyndi was looking to, or if we were trying to push, if Cyndi needed help trying to push a rock up a mountain and get it onto the top, instead of it'd be like me giving her a helpful hint and then uh, just say good luck, rather than actually help guide her along the way until she got the rock right onto the tippy top. So I see it that where they're like where the author of Evermore, she wants him to be able to discover the truth, but when you just give him a hint, just throw him a line and leave, at least
toward the end.
Give him a line and then try and guide him along the way as to what, because they seem to have mutual. They're trying to accomplish the same mutual thing. That's where it gets annoying. So it's got to be seen allegorically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't
very likely.
It can't be. If you're reading it for its face value, you're going to be very befuddled.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think, some influence here from again, we talked a little bit about Joseph Campbell last time. I think Andrew Klavan might have read some Joseph Campbell and saw it as like a paint by numbers kind of idea on how to write a fantasy story, which is unfortunate because I don't think it works that well. And as a story, like you're saying, like to me, the politics of something or allegory, that's all fine and good. But if there's not a story that really holds it together and the characters aren't that strong, it's not gonna work for me.
I think the story was not strong, but I think the technique was. I think that it was interesting. It was very unique, like the way that he shifts from the two different worlds, from L.A. to Galliana, and I think that the whole. I think that there were things like the whole falling for the princess and the way that they glued that together. How there's much more to that, and she doesn't really because she Bethrary is gone by the end of the book.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you got a love story and you're now nothing. Like, that's not fair.
Mm-hmm. And I hated the antagonists, and that in a good way, not a bad way. There's a lot to Curtin the wizard, because it's not just you have Lord Iron. Yeah, Lord Iron is the chief. He is the chief he's for face value the chief antagonist, but Curtin is the one that proves to be the more powerful. He's the one that really ignites Lord Iron.
He's like the power behind the throne kind of thing.
And the allegory just behind his name, because if you're looking at it politically, a lot of suspicious, immoral things take place behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
Pay no mind to the man behind the curtain, right? From the Wizard of Oz. Like to me, it's all very kind of derivative. Like he comes across maybe like the Emperor in Star Wars. And his powers are very much like the Force, where he can make people do things, with their bodies, and and then the portal between the two worlds is very much like Narnia. It's all derivative.
I think it's more epic than Narnia, because Narnia, it's usually one. In each book, it's usually one device. Like in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, it's the wardrobe. In this one, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, any door.
Mm-hmm.
Tara, I want to get you in.
So I marked when he went to the other thing.
Back and forth.
Yeah, because that was fun to mark. But I liked as an allegory, but I also see like a lot of the flaws too. I'm like especially when he said he wanted to implant his seed for her babies or whatever that phrase was.
I wrote that quote down. And
what the hell? Why would and you could tell it's from the male gaze. It's very much he's not thinking oh well, he didn't have does he have a woman in his life that would tell him the truth? Hey, that's very
on page 242, it was, I didn't want to make Jane cry. I just wanted to possess her body and soul and fill her womb with a new generation. Even just to see her and chat would have been nice. Which Austin Lively was not a likable character in my mind.
Just to see her in chat would be nice.
But
like,
I mean, the only thing I could appreciate is that he at least was looking to. He knew that he was flawed. He knew that he was just brought up as an entitled schlub.
Mm-hmm.
But he, at the very least, was making an effort to look for wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, I mean, that didn't... But then again, I think John F. Kennedy, if he was the central character in this piece, he would have thought very similarly to...
Yeah. Because it's, like... I hate to say this, but that was, like, a product of his time, too. Now it's brought up. And we've come a long way for male and female thinking.
I have no issue with what he said there. I don't think there's anything really wrong with it.
I was turned off by it. I agree with Tara.
I was just like...
Yeah,
just the way he said
it. It was very cringy. It was cringy. And then I do like the villain here. I think they are a good villain, but I would like to have seen another character like the villain in a different way, in a positive way.
Which one are we talking about?
The one in the
real world?
Yeah, the one in the real world, the one in LA.
We're talking about Sierra?
Yeah.
To me, Sierra, I think Sierra was more, I mean, he was an antagonist, but...
They were an actual bad person, but I would like to see that same character, like that...
To me, I think that Sierra he's a victim of Mr. Orozco.
Yes.
To me, I think that he was kidnapped when he was very young and used as a sex slave.
But, like, it's the product of whatever happened that you could see it, but I also would like to see that type of character in a positive way as well, because what you're getting is a negative character of a trans character and not a positive one in any of... Maybe the squirrel?
I really don't know.
I'm not sure, but like, because they called her...
Have you read all the way through this story?
Is that how called the ones too?
Is that the queen?
No.
Does Maud become the queen?
Maud not the queen.
Maud, yeah, she's kind of... Maud, to me, kind of reminds me of those Disney sidekicks that, like, Flounder or the whoever the animal is in Pocahontas, the raccoon, I think it is, for that. It's like, or it's kind of like that sidekick that, like the mice in Cinderella. That's kind of what she reminds me of. She does carry a little bit more weight, where she's very detrimental to helping him.
You mean like reluctant?
Huh?
Detrimental. She helps him. What do you mean?
I think he meant instrumental.
Instrumental.
Oh, instrumental.
Yeah, she's instrumental in helping him strengthen his wisdom and his ability to believe in himself and get him out of the circumstances where it looked like he was merely a goner.
Mm-hmm.
But
smart character.
But I mean, it was also, I would say that she was somewhat funny. But it was, with her interaction with him, very snarky.
Yes.
But
kind of deserved it.
Then she'll just suddenly disappear instead of help him along his. I can't take. I gotta go now. I'll be back when you accomplish the mission.
Yeah, and then there's the scene where like he's escaping and he goes down into the sewer part and that like weird sewer creature.
The excrement monster.
Oh yeah, that's from Dogma. He stole that too.
That or Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh no, I have not.
There's a poop monster in there.
It's same thing. That's just disgusting.
Yeah.
That was gross, but I was just...
Conker's Bad Fur Day does the same thing.
Oh yeah?
The video game. But but yeah, I think it was but to me, Orozco, he makes me think of a lot of things in the real world.
George Soros?
There's a lot of You could say, yeah, people
Maybe.
Yeah.
because he pulls a lot of strings, and he basically owns Austin's family. And Austin's family, they are bought, sold. They're just so dilapidated. I mean, save for his younger sister Riley. But Riley, to me, is playing with fire, and doesn't. And I don't feel. I mean, maybe she knows something that we don't, but it feels like she doesn't know what it means to be burnt. But she lives a very reckless lifestyle. But
yeah, she's definitely. I agree with that.
I mean, there are things that she might have a point with, but she is very she's really taken a lot of risks. Also, and I mean, I think that it was interesting how Austin perceived her boyfriend Marco, because he seemed like he was a douchebag, but but he does at the very end bail him out, but we're left at a point where, we're left by the end. I'm inclined to want to keep going.
Because the way it ends, you're like, well,
yes.
what happens kind of next, yo?
Because a lot of things are very. I could feel the things that were happening there.
Yeah. Book 1 actually sets up the rest of it. This is in the entire story arc, and book 1 is act 1.
How many are there?
3.
Mm-hmm.
3.
So 2 more acts.
But I'm definitely curious to see what.
And the rabbit hole gets bigger.
So I'm gonna probably go on the YouTubes and read the rest of the videos.
Yeah, have you seen any of the YouTube on the?
I did the audio book.
I think that I did it when they first came out with it, and they used to have it on the program. They had Another Kingdom evening on Friday night. I'm like, that is so cool.
I wrote a lot of quotes for this because I think that some of the things that he said were just really. He was creative in the way that he displayed different thoughts. Because there is also this whole idea. You could also look at the allegory for the publishing industry and life as a writer, because of the writer's world and what everybody expects. On page 3 I wrote, because Andrew Klavan had such a difficult time getting anything published, it felt like he was I was initially thinking he was going to be very Walter Mitty-esque, where he would be able to find his identity and strength in the fantasy world after being brought down in the real world. On page 3, I wrote, he had said, I'd been told that Hollywood was where you went if you wanted to sell your soul to make movies. I went, but I never sold my soul. No one would buy it. I just got tired of carrying it around, which is a very clever commentary of Hollywood, because people basically sell their souls. And you're seeing a lot of that if you see a lot of very demonic undertones in even Taylor Swift's content. You see her summoning, they're very Wiccan and summoning demons and whatnot. But I think Jelly Roll has gone from one end to the other.
In what way?
He was very, I think he was very, when he started, he was very Christian motivated.
Yeah.
But you're starting to see more of a Hollywood influence.
Interesting. I'm only vaguely aware of him. I know he's got that one song that is very relatable about how I only pray when I'm in trouble or something like that. The other one, I forget exactly what it is, but it's a relatable kind of thing. Like when I was going through my atheist years, I mean, there's still times when it's like that saying about there's no atheist in a foxhole, because when you're in trouble, sometimes there's only one place you can turn.
You do have help. You have people like you have Lauren Daigle, has is pretty. She's gotten attention for her Christian music. I want to listen to uh, more music by Mara Justine. She's a local. She's been on 3 reality show competitions, and she incorporates a lot of. She's got that one song that I need to. That pops up on my Instagram, but I gotta listen to it all the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
But so there is that. There is the flip side where people are not. But you have that idea that you basically you come into Hollywood thinking that you're going to be able to develop your own identity, but it gets you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. And to follow up with that on page 3, it says, and I quote, "You ever see jackals gutting the carcass of a once beautiful gazelle? That's what the development meetings were like. My script was the gazelle. The producers and executives were the jackals. I was the asshole. The movie never got made."
Yeah.
Where that's what, in the publishing industry, they will, unless you self-publish, they are going to do everything they can to turn it into what they want. Mm-hmm. And in many cases, they turn it into what you basically see in every movie, where it's a box office checklist.
Right, yeah, like what do we got to do to get the most people in the most seats? And that's all that the motivation is. Gone are the days where an artist can make like a movie and have a vision and execute that vision without interference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, when I was reading this up, I thought, because of those early scenes, I thought, my goodness, are you Austin Lively? Is this that story? Are you hiding yourself? Is that who you are in there? I don't know.
Klavan?
Yeah, like he's like that's some version of himself.
In some way,
I mean, you always, the writer always leaks out. You always leak out who you are, your life.
I think he's like here. He's like in the beginning about like Hollywood and the publishing industry. I think that he's putting his experience in that, but I think the rest is just his experience with other things. But I don't think he's inserting himself as Austin.
When I see on the cover, this guy reminds me of Mike Vrabel.
Who?
Mike Vrabel. He was the coach of the Titans.
Talk about.
Isn't there something along those lines in the very beginning? There's this C.S. Lewis quote. Do you have a copy? Does somebody have a copy?
Yes.
O.D.
No one is told any story but their own.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of this, I think that there's a lot in here that readers can connect with in the way that it has to do with being able to find oneself and sort through what's right and wrong. And regardless of which way they do it, I mean, the main saying that you come out with is let wisdom reign. And people see wisdom in different lights. And as long as it encourages them to do good, then I think it's a very important discovery.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the story ultimately is about becoming the hero, right? Like that's what it's about. Austin's journey from, this guy who's doesn't care about his soul, doesn't know what he believes, doesn't care about anything beyond, whatever he's doing at the moment, to become somebody that is worthy of this story that he finds himself, the main character in all of a sudden. So, I mean, I think that's what it's about. It's about becoming the hero, and virtue, being earned. So I mean, I think that's what it's going. I didn't find it compelling because of the fact that I could see, oh well, this is like that, that's like this. It's like it's not original. It's contrived.
No, it's not. The story to me is not original, but the technique is. I think that it's just I think there's a lot of things that just the kingdom and the princess and just the whole setup, but the way what Klavan does beyond that is very thought provoking. And I mean, it's something that I'm just going to keep. It's why I feel it is one of the most complex. It's one of the most complex books I've ever read, or I have one of the most complex opinions about it. It's like Andrew Jackson's administration as president to historians.
Interesting. No, it's interesting. You're making me reevaluate it a little bit if it has impacted you like that, because then it works and it's effective. It's not for me, but I can see that it's effective. So
because people like Orozco, the reason I hate him so much is because he's very similar to the people that are agitating us in the real world, being able to strive toward what we want to be rather than spend our lives in a simulated bubble. And the way that to me, what happened with the way that they altered things between him and what happened with Sierra's demise, because they were originally going to off him. If he went with the deal, they would arrest Sierra.
Right.
But now that Austin took it into his own hands, and he did it, and he killed him out of self-defense because Sierra was after him. If it was either kill or get killed.
Yes. They
altered the story. They created an alibi. Actually, they created an alibi for Orozco, and then they said, "Oh, Sierra was this. He was this teacher that worked with disadvantaged children."
Yeah.
And I mean, the original story kind of reminds me of what they did with Andrew Cuomo. They accused him of one thing when he should have been nailed for something even bigger. But I don't want to get too much into that.
No, yeah, but it goes to show, how people can, when they become, an enemy of the establishment, how they're going to be painted. Like, I mean, Donald Trump, look at him. He was loved prior to his run for president. Everybody loved Donald Trump. He was a major star on
Not everybody, but I think that
a lot of more people than
when he was on The Apprentice.
Yeah. He was a huge star, and everybody loved him. Like, I mean, he was really well liked.
I would say that I think was a little bit mixed. There were people that did, but there were people even then were turned off by his.
Well, sure. Like Rosie O'Donnell never liked him. I mean, you could name people, but I mean, the way that the public image of him has been.
Rosie O'Donnell's reputation dropped like a rock so hard that it probably would have created an explosion in New York City.
Yeah, but my point is though that like the public image of Donald Trump before he decided to run for president was a lot different. The way he was portrayed in the media, he was portrayed as a successful billionaire entrepreneur who can make or break people and decide who the apprentice should be and who's worthy of being his apprentice. I mean, that's what he was. Then he runs for president, and he does so as an anti-establishment candidate. And then he's the worst person that ever lived, all of a sudden, according to the media. The same people, NBC, it was the same people that gave him a show for years and years and years were the same ones that released the Billy Bush tape.
But I remember they also made a lot of jokes about how immersed he was with himself and his richness. Because I remember on Mad TV, Frank Caliendo, on Mad TV, he was taking over Sesame Street, and he did his own version of I Love Trash called I Love Cash, and he had a singing toupee.
Okay, yeah. Well, but that's all gentle. That's all just making fun.
But I mean,
they weren't trying to vilify him. They really weren't. They didn't. He was one of them. He was part of the celebrity class. He was just one of them until he decided to be anti-establishment. And same thing happened with Kanye West. As long as he's for the establishment or not going against it, he's loved. And then as soon as he isn't, he's...
I never liked Kanye West no matter what. Yeah. Kanye West to me was always a self-absorbed psychopath.
Well, still, what I'm talking about is not your personal opinion. I'm talking about how he's treated by the media.
That is true.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think, otherwise, let's get back to this.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that to you stuck out that we didn't cover, Cyndi?
No, I think we did pretty good.
Okay. Well, there's a few. I think that they're like when his older brother Richard spoke about billionaires and how Orozco liked to talk about himself. That was a quote that stuck out because I think that there is a class of people that, but I think Richard was bought and sold. He's a successful actor and is basically a puppet to Orozco's cause. Yeah. And they all believe that he's going to do good things, but he's only doing what keeps him in power. And maybe that may mean doing certain good things, but ultimately there is such a dark underbelly, and there's still a lot of bad things going on. It's not ultimately all great and almighty until nothing or very little that's bad is going on. Like there's no children are being trafficked. Everybody's being able to have at least a halfway decent meal and going to bed, not having to worry about losing a place to sleep.
That sounds too good. Too good to be true. Too good to be true.
I thought page 44 had the initial character guide for the story of Another Kingdom. I think proved to be a very good reference because that was his first hint, and the only thing that was the only thing he could really work upon as far as the figuring out the story itself was concerned. And this was different from Never-Ending Story, which I thought was...
there's another one.
Yeah. Never-Ending Story to me was brilliant, and it took a different approach.
It did.
But otherwise, you have Queen Linda is Ellen Evermore, yes. And the fact that she wants to lead a world of free will and one's ability to think for oneself, and as Austin Lively puts it, let people do whatever the hell they want and leave them alone. But as long as they're not hurting anybody, for that matter, deliberately. Yes. And I think that she'll probably have a more prominent role in the next few books, because she is the... Because, I mean, that makes me think of the libertarianism as far as these works are concerned. Does anybody have any final thoughts?
No.
I guess not.
Okay. How would we rate this? 0 to 5 stars, half stars permitted? Larry?
I go 3 stars. Again, it's not for me. It's slightly above average. And again, because of the fact that you got so much out of it, otherwise I probably would have gone right with a 2 or a 2.5. But if it's effective, you know, for some members of its audience, and I say, okay, so I'll go a little bit more than that. I'll say 3.
Cyndi?
Let's see. So of course I actually really like this, and I did think that it was brought up, made me think about so many things, and I would say 4.5 stars.
Okay.
3 stars.
Okay.
For a few problematic things that I said before, those things, and how it ended, I will continue on, but I won't be purchasing.
Okay. I'm giving it 4, and I'm very surprised at myself that I got this high, because I was really scratching my head as to what direction this was going to take. But as I said before, when sorting out my overall opinion, because the use of allegory and the technique and what it makes me think and feel as a reader, that was done brilliantly. But the story, the characters, it was just, that to me was a bit where it lagged. It was a bit, none of the characters really weren't likable. They were very, they were very, it was like they were very styrofoamy, maybe.
A little flat?
Somewhat flat. Not really, it was, I mean, they had complexities amongst themselves, but it wasn't like there was anybody that I could say was really likable for any given reason. Nobody that I really had that really got under my skin in the way. There were people that got under my skin in a negative way, but it was, I wouldn't say that these characters were very, like, Sarah to me was very, I thought that delivery of the character was very annoying and just almost insulting, stereotypical kind of way, but not insulting but insulting to the like he was very flamboyant, but in a way, but not in a very. He was just very in your face. It wasn't very flattering, but I mean, I don't think, to me, Austen, I didn't really care for the way he saw women. I thought he was an entitled, whiny schlub. But but I think he's somebody that has the ability to change and redeem themselves. But I think that this, I wrote in my notes that that this book does not only create a special kind of dystopia, but it creates a layout of what it is to think about and point out the warnings. It truly is a story within a story, giving us an idea of what it is like to have an idea published or adapted. So.
I like that assessment. That's good. That's really good.
Alrighty then. If you are interested in picking up Another Kingdom by Andrew Klavan, here is my copy. And I am definitely inclined to purchase the rest of the series. And I want to thank you for tuning in to this video. I hope you check out some more videos from our channel. And for now, keep reading.